meeting is being recorded.
Wonderful. As you can see by our mission statement, we really do think of the whole child. We want to educate a culturally diverse community. Our community is about 40 to 42% diverse every year, and we are more diverse than some of our local public and private schools in our area. So we're very proud of that because we are welcoming to all. And we offer a challenging, very challenging curriculum. Our fifth graders get into any school that they apply to, and 99% of the time they get into that first school and they're very, very happy with that nice transition into a school for their middle school years. We foster the spiritual grounding in the Episcopal tradition with the respect and dignity and beliefs for everyone. That's one of our most important sentences in our mission statement, because we do teach respect and dignity and empathy and kindness for everyone. It's so important to us. And you will learn more about that tonight. As well as celebrating our children, their individual gifts, encouraging them to rise to their full potential so that they can be children that give back in the world, children of sound character and active stewards in our world. And we're very proud of our mission statement and what we do at St. John's. Mrs. Borman?
Yep. So kind of to go along with some of those points that Mrs. Dembo already mentioned, here you'll see our diversity statement, which I'll allow you guys to peruse. But just to kind of highlight, we are in an organization that believes in celebrating everybody for who they are and what they offer. And what we incorporate within our programming is to help highlight those individual differences and helping every child understand how important they are, but how important they are not only for themselves, but in relation to the world around them and how they can embrace that and, be the best that they can. We believe that it isn't something that we just check off when we say that we're working or having components of diversity, but we believe that it's always an ongoing process and an ongoing educational journey for our families, for our students, and for our staff. So it is something that we highly, highly value. And I'm going to turn this over to, I believe, our wonderful kindergarten team to kind of talk through all about kindergarten.
Okay, so our kindergarten philosophy, just as our mission statement says, we set out every day to educate the whole person to excellence. We nurture each child's full potential. At St. John's, we pride ourselves on our small class sizes, like Ms. Dembo said. It's especially important in kindergarten because with fewer students in a classroom, we're able to give each child the attention they need and deserve as we guide them in reaching their goals for the year, whether it's their academic goals or their social and emotional goals. So to go along with our kindergarten overview, if you look at these pictures, we're a faith-based learning environment. Kindergartners are constantly developing their character traits. They learn what it means to be a citizen, not only as a global citizen of our country, but what it means to be a citizen of St. John's and our classroom community. So as you see in these pictures, the one on the far left, we just had elections for our student council, for our president, vice president, and communications coordinator. So everyone from kindergarten on up could vote for those positions. They had to be in 4th or 5th grade to have to run for the election. But we all got to listen to their speeches as a community. Just like in the middle picture, we got to listen to the speeches, but beforehand, we all came together as a lower school community. We said the pledge. That's a kindergartner holding the flag. And that's actually one of our jobs in our classroom too, to be our flag holder. And like I said, we have a classroom community that we have to take care of. And the picture on the far right is one of our kindergartners watering the plants. That's our plant helper who keeps our plants thriving. So being a private school, we're able to pull from various curricula and academics as we keep learning fun through hands-on and engaging activities while we still meet national standards. So this is evident in these two pictures. The first picture on the left, she's using shaving cream. I'm giving a word. If I say the word rag, she's sounding it out in her head, ag, and then she's writing the word on the shaving cream, which is always fun to get messy with shaving cream. And then the picture on the right, they're doing a little write the room activity during our literacy, our daily 5 activities. So, or no, during our math, because there's numbers on the leaf. So they walk around the room with their clipboard, they record the 2 numbers, and they also record the missing number in the middle. And it's always fun to walk around the room with a clipboard.
Okay, this is our day in the life of a kindergartner. So this is kind of like a schedule. Throughout our days, we'll do various things here. So you see, in the morning we'll have morning tubs or STEM bins. So it's pre-coding activities. They'll build with blocks or build with different kind of trinkets. So we'll do that in the morning as everyone comes in and arrives, as well as taking care of their materials, bringing them in, hanging their backpacks. We'll all have morning meeting. That's school-wide, so we'll all have morning meeting around the same time. And we'll hear more about that in a little while. We'll have phonics, we'll have language arts, we'll have a whole group lesson, we'll do guided reading groups that are differentiated, and we'll also have daily 5. We'll have snack and recess. And then we have our math groups. So we'll have small differentiated groups again, and we'll rotate through centers math games. And then we'll do our math calendar. We'll have lunch and recess. During writing, we'll do some journaling or writing, responding to books. We'll do handwriting. We'll have science and social studies. And then we have our specials here: art, STEM, media, music, PE, and Spanish. And then at the end of every day, we have chapel, or on Fridays, we have gathering, and then we have dismissal. So you can see here, this is kind of one day of the week from our schedule. So they'll come in, they'll have arrival, they'll do their STEM bins, they'll bring in their materials and their belongings. Then we'll have a math block where we'll do our math calendar and have our math rotations. We'll have a bathroom break and snack and recess in the morning. So it's that second recess time in the day. And then we'll have reading and daily 5. And then maybe we'll have a special sometime in the morning. So in this example, it's Spanish. Then we'll go to lunch and recess. And then we'll have quiet time. So quiet time is like a 15-minute period where they can relax and do quiet activities to kind of center themselves. And again, that's all the way up through 5th grade that we do that. And then we'll have science or social studies, phonics, another special in the afternoon. In this example, it's PE. Then we'll pack up and gather together for chapel and dismissal. Okay, so recess, they go to the big playground. And in this picture, you can see they have the monkey bars, we have swings and slides. They have access to the field where they can play soccer, run around. A lot of times they're making up imaginary games with each other. And then also, as you can see in this picture, the blacktop to play basketball, play ball, or use chalk. Okay, for specials, this is PE. In the first picture here, they are learning about healthy foods and then sometimes foods, so more of treats. So they were doing an activity where they sorted the healthy foods and the sometimes foods that they were learning about. And then in this other picture, they are in their yoga unit. So they're starting to learn about yoga and different yoga poses and centering themselves. In music, so they will head down to the music room, and they, as you can see in this first picture here, they're dancing and jumping around and having a good time moving their bodies, as well as learning songs and learning different instruments. So Spanish, this first picture is our Hispanic heritage celebration, and so they got on stage and were able to perform 3 songs that they had been practicing at the beginning of the year in Spanish class. So they were able to perform that for everyone, and parents were invited, and along with they sang some songs with the 1st graders. And so they were able to celebrate in that way. And then this is in the Spanish classroom. Okay, art. So art is another special that they go to, and they go down to the art studio for art. And they do a lot of different creative activities using different mediums, paint, drawing, and learning different skills. Okay, STEM. So science, technology, engineering, and math. So in our STEM lab, we promote a collaboration and exploratory learning. Students enjoy hands-on learning activities that allow them to apply technology, science, math, engineering skills, as they enjoy exploring, problem solving, coding, and reflecting. So you can see in these pictures, they're problem solving to keep the bears up on a bridge that they had made. They did augmented reality. So that's that picture that you see in the middle. And they're working together to build. And here are some more examples of the activities that they were doing in STEM. And this last picture here is from our STEM bins in our classroom. So it's not only when they go to STEM class are they learning about these things, but we also have iPads in our classroom that we use for reading and math. And we also have pre-coding games and manipulatives in our rooms that they can explore. Media, so they'll be able to go to media. They are able to check out books and bring them home weekly, so that they can, check out any book that is interesting to them. Okay, science. So this year for science and social studies, Ms. Mincer and I are switching classes. So this year I'm teaching science and Ms. Mincer is teaching social studies. So we're able to teach each other's classes, and the students are able to kind of move through the classrooms and experience, different classes in different spaces. So in science this year, we have 3 units: physical science, earth science, and life science. And so here you can see they are, this is part of our wood unit. And so they're exploring different types of wood, water and wood. And we're learning about paper, different things you can do with paper, and that center picture is paper mache. Okay, social studies. So that first picture there, so these are some highlights of our curriculum. That first picture is Christmas around the world. So during Christmas time, we travel to different places and we learn about how other countries celebrate Christmas and their traditions. It's very exciting. And then we also learn about American symbols and community, as you can see there.
So we've been talking a lot about the word differentiation. So we value every child's unique learning style, and through differentiated instruction, we tailor to the needs of each individual student. We can do this in these small class sizes, which means we meet every child where they are and take them as far as they can possibly go. Within our small class size, we're able to break into even smaller groups depending on the kindergartner's abilities. The picture on the left is a teacher-led reading group, and the other two pictures are showing a guided math group. These groups are fluid throughout the year, which means that students may switch groups depending on if they've conquered the skill or if they need a little bit more time to master it. So in language arts, we talked about, I think Ms. Volkanis mentioned Daily 5. So Daily 5, we use from K all the way up. And what it is, it's it's a framework of 5 activities. It's read to self, read to someone, listen to reading, writing, and word work. So within the first 3 components, we guide the students to tell the story through illustrations in kindergarten as they're becoming more confident readers. We also, with the 4th component, writing, we also have them rely a lot on their illustrations in the beginning as they're starting to sound out those words and be able to actually spell the words. The 5th component, which is what you see in all of these pictures, is the word work, which is very important in kindergarten. So word work is phonics along with sight words, those words that you just have to know. So in the first picture, the 2 students are grouped together in a little duo, a little pair, and they are rainbow writing with markers their friends' names. Then on the top picture, the boy is working independently and he is spinning sight words and covering the sight words. So he's reading those sight words as he covers them. And then the other 2 pictures show small groups. So they're working in small groups. In the bottom picture, in the beginning of the year, what they were doing is they were separating uppercase and lowercase magnets on the magnetic board. And then the other picture was just the other day with I want to say acorns, candy corns, with candy corns. And what they did is they had to match the upper and lowercase letter along with the picture with that beginning sound. We do basically the same thing for math with our math centers. Students may play a board game or a card game with a small group, or they may independently do a game with dice and roll and cover. But all of these are differentiated, even within the small groups, even if they aren't teacher-led, we're gearing the activities towards their learning levels.
Okay, social emotional development. This is kind of a theme throughout kindergarten. So you see there's the bucket, and you can see a bucket behind us as well. So these are representing our 5 B's. So be safe, be kind, be respectful, be responsible, and be ready to learn. And this is a theme throughout our days in kindergarten, as well as the days of all of our students going up through 5th grade. And so this is teaching them how to be a part of a community and teaching them life skills that can benefit them now and moving forward. So we build community also, and we have leaders, and this is a picture, as you can see, of our pledge leaders holding the flag during gathering for the whole community. And then another little program that we do is Star of the Week, and that gives each student an opportunity to kind of share themselves, as well as give the other students an opportunity to learn about different cultures or different families, and each student feels that they can share, and there's different activities throughout the week that they're able to do with that. Okay, again, building community. So these are all little snippets of our morning meeting. And so morning meeting, it has a greeting. So we have our greeting here. So you see in the top left corner, we have the students toe tapping. It looks like those students what are they doing? Are they hugging? In that picture, we have activities. So we have a little ball game in the corner. They share. So we have a share. So the share here, would you rather be hot or cold? And they kind of can see what all of the students in their class would choose, as well as a little bit of math thrown in there as well. And then there's a message during morning meeting, a message from the teachers to the students. Okay, jobs is another way to teach teamwork and responsibility. So we have, as we mentioned, we have a pledge leader. We also have a prayer helper that leads us in prayer before we eat snack. We have the door holder and the line leader. We have a plant helper, as you saw in the beginning of the slideshow. All of these things to teach them that we're a classroom community and we take care of each other, and we all have different roles and responsibilities, and working together to make our community work and function.
Okay, so we're constantly talking about that C word, community. We learn it in social studies, but we learn it throughout the year because we are a small community in our classroom, but then we also are a bigger community with our school. So we have what's called book buddies, and some of you that are in the EC program may have heard of them, where each lower school class is teamed up with an early childhood class, and we get together. We may play on the playground, we may read books together, we may do activities together. But as kindergartners, we also meet up with our 5th grade, and we do the same things with them, play on the playground. The other day we had a big soccer game going where the 5th graders are learning how to help the kindergartners, and the kindergartners are learning how to play with older children. And it's a community building. We also, like Ms. Volcana said, we have gathering every Friday. Instead of chapel, we have a gathering, and that might be where school news is discussed, or how to show positive character traits. Just last Friday, Ms. Borman led gathering, and we discussed how to be respectful. What does it look like to be respectful to each other? So we also learn about our different cultures that our families bring to the community. So in the picture on the left, we had a mom and a sister come in and share a book with us about what Rosh Hashanah is. And they actually even brought in some apples and honey for us to have, because that's a treat that they get during Rosh Hashanah. And then the other 2 pictures, we had a kindergartner this year that celebrated Diwali. So she wanted to share with us what she did at home with the candles and how she dressed up for that evening. So we also come together through holiday parties. It's always fun to have a party. So we have our Halloween party where we dress up, we have games, snack, all kinds of things in the classroom. But then we also have a Halloween parade with Lower School where we go out on the playground in the field and we dance around so that the parents can see all of our costumes. We have Valentine's Day parties, we have Christmas parties, and we have a huge celebration to celebrate the 100th day of school. So we're constantly building those communities, and families are important to us as well. So we have times where families are involved in our school day. We have, it starts with the end of summer social, and then we have those first Fridays that we're able to have in person inside this year, where you can stop by after arrival and have a quick cup of coffee or a little snack and get to chat with the specialists and the admin team. We celebrate our moms and special friends in May with a tea. So all the moms and special friends come in and we have some activities with them. And I'm very excited about this month. We get to actually have our grandparents and special friends into the building at the end of the month, and we get to celebrate them. We have daily chapel. So kindergarten through 5th grade end the day with chapel 4 days a week. And it's led by our new chaplain, Chaplain Gigi. She uses picture books and stories to explain scripture. Mrs. Enochian and Mrs. Perkel come in and sing songs with us, play some musical instruments, and the students are involved in all of that. On Thursdays, we have chapel in Historic Church, and it's led by Chaplain Gigi, but it's also an opportunity for our 4th graders to be readers and our 5th graders to be acolytes. So they will write the prayers and actually say the prayers. We also celebrate birthdays in chapel in Historic Church once a week on Thursdays, and that's where parents are invited. And it's a big tradition here at St. John's where we change the light at the end of chapel, but that light stays in our hearts and we carry that light out into the world. So as our birthday friends, they are able to hold those electric candles and walk out as the procession proceeds out with their candles. And like Ms. Volcanis said, we say daily prayer. In the beginning of the day, we say prayer, our school prayer. Before lunch, before snack, we say a prayer. And in kindergarten, we have that prayer leader whose job it is to not only say the prayer, help us start the prayer, but to pick the prayer for us. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Borman.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for covering all of that great information about kindergarten. So you'll see on your screen here that there are 2 process if you are a new family or if you're an existing family. And I think that I have quite a bit of our existing families online. So what we are going to do for a process of enrolling in our kindergarten is you are actually still going to complete an online application, and that will be something that when we're interested in doing kindergarten, I'll be able to contact with you individually for that. The reason we have you do an online application, even though you're an existing family, is that it's kind of helping us to transition into our next division as of the lower school. It also gives an opportunity as part of our process is that we like to receive a teacher's evaluation. All applicants to kindergarten will have a teacher fill out a recommendation form. So it kind of keeps us all on that same playing ground. Then we also will have kindergarten readiness assessments. So in about December, January timeframe, we will schedule times for you to come in after your application has put in. Actually, you guys don't have to come in as internals, but once your application is in, while the children are here during school, we will pull them and they will have time with our kindergarten teachers going through what our kindergarten assessment readiness. And then once we kind of get all of that data, our admissions team comes together and then we will make that decision for acceptance and communicate back. If folks are coming from the outside, from our new families, they too, again, will complete an online application that will also include any previous progress reports if they're in the current program, as well as a teacher referral. And then the difference is we'll have a set time where those will have a kind of a sign up genius for a couple of days for those folks to schedule to come in for that kindergarten readiness assessment. And then the same thing, we will have that. The admissions team will look through all of the information and then we will communicate that kindergarten acceptance decision. So a pretty straightforward process, but I will absolutely be helping you along the way as we make those transitions. Okay, so now is time for questions. So we can feel free to pop those in the chat if you would like. If you would prefer to unmute, we can also do that. I think you all have capability. Right now, I don't see anything in the chat. So I'm not sure if any of our presenters have anything additional that they want to add, while we have some folks take some thoughts on if they have any questions.
Mrs. Mormon, I just wanted to give Mrs. Trim a second to say hello, and as our wonderful assistant, and also if each one of you could tell the audience how long you've been here at St. John's.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi, I'm Valerie Trim. This is my 8th year as the full-time kindergarten teaching assistant, and I'm happy to tell you that kindergarten at St. John's is a joyful place to be. Mrs. Mincer and I have been together for 7 years, and Miss Volcanis is in her 2nd year with us, and we are an amazing team. And I say that happily and joyfully and gratefully. It would be an honor to have your child join us, be a part of our kindergarten. I have wonderful feelings about St. John's and my time there. It's why I continue to remain there. I have many years as a classroom teacher, decided to return after some time off as a teaching assistant. And I want you to know that on the days that our full-time teachers, Mrs. Mincer and Mrs. Volcanis, cannot be there, I am always the substitute teacher. I would know your children personally, and it's always a pleasure to be able to work with them and fill in for our lead teachers. So thank you for this opportunity to say hi, and we hope to see you and your child in the fall.
Thank you, Mrs. Trim. It's fantastic. I wanted all of you parents to know, those of you who are new and those of you who might not remember, as I said in our first newsletter of the year, our faculty and staff, we retain 98% of our full-time faculty and staff. We only had 2 members of our community retire. Our violin teacher of many, many years, and our also 2-day assistant in the 3s retired. The rest all returned, and we're so very excited to have that longevity of staff as well as that consistency of program, which is not happening in the education field. So we're very proud of that at St. John's because we are a warm and welcoming community. I also wanted to point out that Mrs. Mincer, I believe, had mentioned we follow the national standards, and they are more rigorous than the state standards in the Common Core, and they're broader of spectrum so that you can keep on going and expanding at a lot. You can go horizontally or vertically, whatever way you need to for any lesson or any unit that you're studying. And that's just fantastic. Our teachers have a lot of latitude. If children are really, really enjoying learning about coding in their STEM class, they can expand and expand and expand on that. And I think it's a fantastic program because of that as well. Mrs. Mormon, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that when we, as Mrs. Spencer had mentioned earlier in her presentation, that beauty of being able to have our curriculum, but then breathe life into many other areas is truly what makes our kind of curriculum across all the years so special. What I love the most is being able to see how much our teachers can do across grade levels. So that expansion really is, it really helps to build that critical thinking along with supporting our community building, creating leaders. So when you see all of them coming together, it's great. It's great to see, and it's really shown every day in what they do. We do have a couple of questions, which actually I believe are all kind of around, you guys are all on it for the same. So applications are currently open. So folks will be able to put your applications in for kindergarten. Some things I have to tweak a little bit with our internals. It's a little different in the system. But we usually will begin the process of Bergansing in December into January. So that decision making as far as you're accepted happens in January for then you to complete your enrollment packet. So we really do like to have that process happen quickly over that time frame. So everything should be all set in January as far as that timeline goes. So I hope that answers our questions that we've had in the chat. Any other questions? Any other comments by anybody? As always, you can reach out to myself. I know that a lot of you that might be familiar with the building, but if you haven't ever crossed over to the other side of Lower School and would like that opportunity to come and have a tour to see what the classrooms look like in person, meet our staff in person, feel free. We have an open house on the 17th after school, so it's about 5 o'clock. And we will have, like, it's about, you can come in at different times for a tour. So if you want the opportunity to do that, if you want to come in for a private tour, we also welcome that. So any kind of opportunity you need to come in and see. For our acceptance rate, as we've said, it will obviously depend on applicants, but we look for also the best candidates for St. John's that we feel will have a perfect fit for your child at our school, as well as our school for your child. But we will always adhere to our size limitations. So we will not go over that 18 in each classroom. So if that is kind of our breaking spot for where we will be for our acceptances. So if we have a lot more students that are applying as we go through the process, we of course always look for our internal students as our first approach to when we're looking at accepting our students. So we're fortunate to have that opportunity to really learn about your children even before they apply for kindergarten. So we'd love to take that into consideration as part of being a member of our community.
Also, Mrs. Borman, I wanted to add that we've had wait lists in kindergarten the past 2 years and expect to have that again. So we really look at the date at which you enrolled. That's very important, especially for outside candidates. We're going to back it to the oldest date from application, the ones who applied first. We'll go from preference that way. It's just the only fair way to do it. When did that person apply, and do they have all their information in? And we go from there. So either way, it's always important to get your information in.
Okay. All right. Well, again, if you have any questions after this, please feel free to email me. And I appreciate everybody taking their time to come. I greatly appreciate our wonderful kindergarten team for taking their time to join and share. And we hope you all have a wonderful evening.
Have a great evening, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.